All right, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shemel, Shabbat, Shem, Kakodash, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all the Akim, the preaching the word of sincerity and the truth. It's the brother Barzal from Great Millstone, Atlanta. And what you see before you is this website. It's entitled TheWorldCounts.com, and it has a lot of good articles. It goes into statistics. You see the numbers rolling, and this title is going to be the title of lesson. Of course, you'll see is plastic alone is enough to basically take these devils out of power. You know, this plastic crisis, the epidemic or pandemic. The word pandemic is all. You know, the crisis that's coming upon all people is global. You know, it's destroying the world itself. And like I said, you know, this plastic is it's astronomical, man. You see the numbers going up right here, and is destroying the aquatic life, the land life. You know, humans are being affected by the plastic and things of that nature. And that's how you know, without a shadow of a doubt, this man has to get out of power. And not only these white people, all right, it's not just the Edomite thing. Primarily, it's you devils, all right. But pursuing the Psalms, the 83rd chapter, it's you Chinese, you Arabs too, you East Indians. All of y'all are, have a hand in the destruction of the planet Earth. You know, that's why it says when the righteous are in authority, the, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear of rule, the people mourn. And Esau has the helm of he's at the helm of rulership, and he's being assisted and guided by his allies in wickedness, which is you other nations. And this is what they've racked up, accumulated on a worldwide basis. And it says plastic bags used per year, 3,800,000,000. Excuse me, that might be 3,876,805,000,000. Well, it's 900,000. And the numbers is running. But it says number of plastic bags worldwide this year. This year, 5 trillion plastic bags will be consumed. That's 160,000 bags a second. Put one after another, they will go around the world 7 times every hour and cover an area twice the size of France. And all that plastic, which plastic is horrible for you. A lot of that plastic, it's not being burned. It's not. First off, even if they were to burn it, it's still releasing all kind of toxic waste within the atmosphere. So a lot of times they'll bury it. You have landfills. You have all these different areas where um, people will take these different, you know, waste material, and they'll try to do away with it, whether burning it or burying it, and that in turn destroys the internal integrity of the planet Earth. That's why the scriptures speak about how the Earth is in a state of mourning. All right, it's basically you know clogged up. It can't yield forth the increase. It's constantly being mined and destroyed by the powers that lay on top. You know, it's not being properly taken care of. It's not like these people on the planet Earth are looking to, you know, actually take care of the Earth. You have certain organizations and groups, PETA and all that BS, that actually have a certain affinity and love, which they go extreme with it, but they have a they have a affinity for the planet Earth and things of that nature. But for the most part, these corporate giants, these trillion dollar, $1 billion, $1 million conglomerates, they could give a hell less. That's why even the brother in the camp, Abba, he showed a video of, I think it was the Lorax, showing you it was a scene on that movie. I think it's a child film, but it just showed you the nature of Esau when he was just chopping down, destroying, all for his benefit. And he didn't think twice about it. He didn't think, oh, let's save the trees, for the next generations. It tells you in Wisdom of Solomon how they think that this, they only think for this life only. They're not thinking about the next generations to pass. All right, they just want to live free. They want to, party and destroy until their heart's desire. because they have a one life to live mentality. But it says we use 5 trillion bags per year. That's 160,000 a second and over 700 a year for every single person on the planet. We can do better than that. See plastic bags used per year in a real time below. But it says plastic bags are consumed. That's 160,000 a second. Less than 1% are recycled. A ton of recycled plastic bags saves the energy equivalent of 11 barrels of oil. But I'm gonna read a little bit more on these statistics. It says most bags are simply thrown out. Less than 1% are recycled. They are most often made from polyethylene that takes centuries to degrade. Each ton of recycled bag saves the energy equivalent of 11 barrels of oil. What happens to plastic bags? In totals, we use 100 million tons of plastic every year. Some 10% of this plastic end up in the oceans and not without consequences. Right, so they just dumping it all throughout the Atlantic, the Pacific, all these different major bodies of water. They just look at that as basically a trash can, like a reservoir that they could just dump and let the water, the aquatic system or the aquatic bodies, deal with the filth. And like I said, it takes centuries, literally centuries, for these products to actually degrade. And when it's in the water, what's happening? It's floating. Which the next statistic goes into it. It's going to the depths of the water. A lot of animals are actually being wrapped up inside these products. And I seen one video a while back where somebody was, they got the a turtle out of the water, and they yanked the straw. It looked like damn near the size of a middle finger out of his nose, man. It was bleeding, and you could tell he was mourning, And it's all kind of birds which I forget the specific type of bird, but it's birds. Their sole purpose is to go and clean up the trash from the earth, and they just drop dead, all right. And they'll cut them open, and they'll just see that their stomachs are full of trash, and even all the effort that they put to basically sacrifice their lives to eat up all the plastic in the water is still not enough. Because what can you do with 100 million tons of plastic a year? You know, how much wildlife, or it doesn't matter how much effort the earth itself can put forth. The individuals that live on the earth that's destroying the earth, you know, they're gonna always prevail. Unless it's something that's divine. It's a divine intervention that comes and interrupt this crisis. So it says the plastic soup. In the ocean, the plastic is broken down to tiny pieces. These pieces are eaten by fish and cannot be digested. Consequently, the plastic builds up and enter into the food chain. Right. So these giants, these assholes, basically, so-called leaders that be, because then they're leading you to destruction. They, like I was saying before, they have that mentality of just throwing trash in the earth. Let's just throw it, throw it this direction. Um, we'll deal with it later. When it's you have something known as the circle of life, you assholes. All right, whatever you pump out is gonna come right back to your food supply, because the food is, the fishes, which fish is a major food course meal that a lot of people consume, whether it's trout, whether it's whiting, whether it's salmon. And you have a lot of so-called businessmen. You have a lot of rich Edomites that love these different top tier fish and aquatic animals. Esau loves his shrimps and crabs. All that stuff is poisonous, but it's poisonous, it's toxic, and it's filled up with plastic. All right, so that's a triple whammy, man. And what is that doing to your body? It's breaking you up little by little. That's why the lifespan of the world and the world lifespan is dropping tremendously, man. Back in the day, it was nothing for your grandparents to hit 90, 95, 97, 83. You'll be lucky to hit your late 60s, man. You know, but continuing on, it says hundreds of species are affected. Seabirds, turtles, like I was just speaking about the turtles earlier, and the seabirds. Yep, that. The seabirds that they'll go and they'll try to eat the plastic material. Seals and sea lions, whales, and fish eat the plastics. The death of one sperm whale found in California in 2008 was caused by 22 kilos of plastic that the whale had eaten. Check out the video on plastic bags and their way to the Pacific garbage patch. And ain't that something? You know how big a sperm whale, which of course brothers are familiar with, but just to put it in emphasis, how humongous a sperm, them joints be the size of a school bus, if not bigger, you know? And for it to die from eating 22 kilos of plastic, that shows you how much plastic is just roaming around. And that was as of 2008. All right, that was over, damn near over 12 years ago. So how much more plastic today, where the U.S. population, not the United States, where the world population is constantly going up. These animals are dying off at an astronomical rate, and that's where you have the term extinct. These animals are going to go extinct by 2023. This animal is going to go extinct by 2027, so on and so forth, because the powers that be are destroying totally obliterating the planet Earth as we know it. So that's why the Lord raises up men of the Lord to prophesy and to speak of the things that's going on in the planet Earth, because the Earth itself is in a state of suffering. Who's going to speak on behalf of the planet Earth? Who's going to represent the Earth? The Earth can't represent itself. It's not going to speak out and cry. It shows itself through mourning, through the sickness and the health. But who's going to actually give, represent, on the Earth's behalf? And that's where you have the men of the Lord. If you how about Shem Shah, they have to stand up for righteousness and go into these numbers, go into these polls and these statistics, and put it to the so-called white man's face, prophesy against him, and show him all the wickedness that he's done. All right, this is Isaiah 24:19. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth, well, yeah, that's the main point. The earth is broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. Because this world, the planet Earth is in a state of mourning, man. And this is what I really wanted. Verse 4: the earth mourneth and fadeth away. Whenever somebody's mourning, they're languishing, they're crying, aggressively. They're depressed. And the earth itself is depressed, is being pressed down by the oppressor, the so-called white man. See, the so-called white man doesn't just oppress people; he oppresses lands. All right, he oppresses animals. He oppresses bodies of water. He oppresses. He oppresses the world as you know it. All right. So it says the earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away. That's why when you watch the movie, which was a good movie, it came out a couple years back, World of Warcraft, and it shows that big witch. He would go to the different planets and he would just, it might look like Eden, and right after he's done, it looks like no man's land, man. All kind of skeletons and bones, carcasses and tumbleweeds. Look like the nobody lived on the planet Earth for generations after that stock of basically devils, or I would say trolls, or whatever they were, actually came upon the land. It says the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinances, broken the everlasting covenant. And the so-called white man broke the everlasting covenant. All right, the scriptures speak about a land Sabbath. It tells you how to till the land, how to deal with the land. All right, and if you were not to deal with the land as such, then the land would actually have, it would backfire on you. And that's what's going on now. That's why I said it. Everybody's sick. Everybody's in a state of mourning. Everybody's depressed because of how they treat the land. All right. And the land has a personal connection with the people. The people represent the land represents the people. The land feeds the people. So if you feed the land all kind of toxins and rubbish, and you abuse the land, guess what happens? It backfires and the land abuses you. And the Native Americans, they had a personal connection with the planet Earth, and they knew that science. That's why they would, speak to the trees. They would speak to the air. They would do certain things to always relieve the world of its symptoms, But the so-called white man got into power, and what did he do? He destroyed everything. So this is Psalms 82:5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Yeah, everything is out of whack, man. Everything has been turned upside down, pursuant to the prophecy, Isaiah 29:16. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. And it's up for the prophets, the men of God, to turn everything right side up. It's a hard job. You have multi-billionaires, the ones that actually run the planet Earth, they're the ones that have full resources and capabilities to do what they do, and we have to just stand patient and be continuously vexed of the conditions on the earth. But we have to be patient in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah and wait for Yahweh Shah to come back and to take this devil out of power. So I want to end by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shema Shah by Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom Akim.